very easily. Just follow the step-by-step instructions. And the Unleashed RX-78-2. It's a very classic character, an action figure at the same time as a plastic model kit. So it's... Hello, this is BJ from Hearn's Hobbies, and today I'm going to be looking at this very special Bandai kit. This is the brand new PG Unleashed RX-78-2. So this is considered a grandpa type Gundam. It's one of the original and very well-loved characters. And coming up to the 40th anniversary of Gundam being in existence, this is a special release they've worked very hard on. And PG, if you don't know, stands for Perfect Grade. Perfect Grade is their highest level of kit, hence a big box. But the main reason for these being Perfect Grade is they're a bigger scale, they're 1/60th scale. And this particular one has been extended and they've called it Unleashed version because it has a lot of extra parts and it's the most comprehensive kit they've ever done. Particularly with this particular character, it's got a lot of so-called gimmicks. It's got a lot of opening parts, it's got LED lights, and it's got a very unique way of molding parts to give it this very authentic look. So design principle is basically to feel like you're building a real one. So on the back, they've gone through the different steps. So they've gone through a lot of thought about creating an experience when you're building the kit so that it feels like you're building the real character, the real robot. So you're building up the framework and there's different stages of the frame all the way up to the final armor. And there's also the, what do you call it? The central cockpit area, which is also the flying unit. So as you can see, there's a lot of different lights, opening panels. The frame is unbelievably detailed. So I'm just going to open it up and let's have a look at the individual bits. Okay, so let's lay this down. Got the flap that opens on the side here. All right. So this is perhaps not the biggest box we've ever seen in PGs, but this particular character is quite a slender character, so it doesn't have any of the big packs and weaponry systems. But once you have an idea of looking at all this sort of stuff, it is actually jam-packed full of amazing bits and pieces. Okay, so I'm going to start picking up bits and we'll have a closer look. Okay, so we've got a bag here, which has got the stickers. So rather than including water slide stickers, which some people are disappointed about, it comes with standard adhesive stickers that you just cut out and stick on. I think this is quite appropriate because with this particular idea of kit, it's for particularly fans who probably haven't even thought about building a kit before, but want a really good result. So they've concentrated on this. So stickers make sense to me because they're the easiest to apply and they'll be the hardest wearing. Water slide stickers, a lot of people don't know how to apply them. It takes a bit of practice, and then when they're on, they're not particularly robust either. This is quite interesting here. There's actually photo etch details. These are self-adhesive as well. So you've got a lot of the grills, finer details. And there's quite a few really bright reflective stickers. And that's a finish that you won't be able to get with a water slide decal either. So they're all stickers in the one packet. Put that over here. All right, let's pick out something else that's really impressive. So this is part of the framework. Now these are very complicated molds because these are actually, there's two tones of gray there, and they're also molded so that they're ready to flex as soon as you cut them out. These are actually joints and they can rotate. So these particular round areas here, these are actually rotating parts and it's all in one piece. So rather than having huge multiple pieces that you press together in a traditional kit, these particular ones are already molded together, giving very slim joints. And also there's the color separation there already. So I'll flip it around, you get a view of the other side. So very clever engineering indeed. So I guess there's two different materials. There'll be a stiffened material. So as they're molded, you've got the two materials getting put into the mold. They'll set, and then because of the two different materials, they're still separated so that they can operate independently of each other. So there's that. That's quite technological. All right, and now we start getting into some more, I guess, bling bits. Some very nice, highly glossed chrome. So you've got the hands, various other parts. Let's see some pistons, such. So you see there's multiple pieces, so you'll be able to get different poses. You've got fixed pose, and then you've got the gripping pose for weaponry. Okay, so really nice chrome. Sometimes chrome, when it's applied, has got a lot of ripples in it, but this is very, very smooth and very reflective. Okay, so you've got that part there. Okay, now you've got some gold-plated parts, and these are matte. And it's great to see the difference between this and the previous chrome part, because the matte finish gives a little bit more interest to the model. You've got pistons, and you've got joint covers. Little accents. Okay. Alright, so we've got more of, these appear to be larger frame parts. So Bandai got really, really crisp details, even across the top of the molds. So top of the molds, I mean across here. So usually to get details across this part, you'll need a multi-piece mold, but this does not appear to be a multi-piece, multi-slide mold. So it means that you have a consistent amount of detail across the face, and then also across the edges of the parts as well. This is the other side here. So you notice some of the joint parts, very beefy. So the whole idea of this particular one is it's got, I guess, a complicated die-cast car type construction. So you got beefy parts so that you can still change the poses with it being strong enough to be able to handle all this. So you've got a section here. Not too sure what this is yet, but I'll pop down there so it's a bit easier to see. That's a very complicated mold there. One piece. So you'll see here is marked ABS. So ABS being the tougher engineering type plastic. So they'll be quite load bearing. It's probably somewhere in the torso. Could be even part of the hip joint. Okay. Got some more colourful parts here now. So this is where Bandai are very famous. They've got the multi-coloured single sprue items. So rather than having multiple sprues that are all different colours, it's a single sprue, keeps it all together, adds protection to each other too, so it doesn't slide around and get scratched. So you've got clear parts which are in conjunction with solid yellow parts here. So you can see here already the colour separation. So there's going to be a lot of parts with multiple different tones. That way you don't have to paint it and you get a really, really decent result. Okay, this side you've got some more frame parts which are in the grey. Okay. Alright, continuing on, we've got some weaponry here. So you got the beam blaster. So they're in a very deep black. You can see from all the parts that we've gone through so far, so the colours, I mean the colour separation is quite good because you've got certain areas where you have multiple parts pressed in together and you have different tones on the one part, such as a gun will have multiple tones. And then having the different greys gives it a very subtle transition. So it's a very, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Elegant, I'd say. So again, you can see there's a lot of joint parts. So you've got pins for holding it together, for rotating bits and pieces. So they're not solid, they've got little cuts in them. The idea behind this is it's not to save weight, it's so that as you press the parts in, it doesn't give huge resistance. It's been engineered to have enough resistance so it holds together, but not so much so that it's impossible to move around. Okay, so we've got that part there. All right, so we're getting into more of the armor parts. You've got all the bright red. So quite contrasting. So these are used throughout the suit to accent and highlight. Then at the back here, there's some more frame parts. Just by seeing the amount of frame parts, you can understand how the frame is such an integral part of this particular design and the build experience. Okay, we're getting into a bit more here. Okay, so you've got white armor parts. So they're that sort of off-white, warm grey. Then on the back, you can see some framework for the shield. So whereas a lot of different kits would be much simpler with a shield design, this has got a lot more components. You'll see some ball joints and various linkages. So this particular kit, they've put extra joints for posability, particularly around the hip mark. So with the hip area, so usually it's just like a forward-backward motion, but this has actually got a lot of, I guess, sideways motion as well, just to make it look much more realistic. Oh, I've got two lots here. Okay, so pure white armor parts. So usually you'll find that the armor parts don't have any of these open areas. This is so you can see a lot of detail underneath. These are your verniers or rocket engine parts. And then let's see here, we've got a lot of open areas here too. So you have other inserts that go in there to give more interest. Okay. And then we've got this part here. So this is sort of an outer frame. So these parts sit between the framework and the armor. So this is like the truss system. They're in a titanium type molded plastic. And then there's more of the armor parts here. So just use an example of some of the gimmicks. So these are going to be some of the panels that'll open. So the side facing me would be the smooth part, which is when closed would look like part of the armor, but as you open up you can see the internal structures as well. So much extra detail there. Okay, so we've got a manual left there. We'll come back to that at the end. Let's go through the second half here. Okay, with this part here, you've got light units. So there's a light unit. There's some of the metal parts that are included. So these are anodized aluminium parts. These are for the verniers, which are the engines. And then this is the beam saber, which has got the LED inside. Okay, so a lot of lighting enhancements. You've got some matte aluminium chrome parts. So part of the truss system again, so this sits between the main armor, which is white armor, and then the mainly dark grey framework. Very nice finish. Alright, so you've got a mix of bits here again. So we've got the white armor parts. You've got the clear parts for the beam saber. So these will fit into the beam saber base I showed you before. So the LED will shine through it and the whole lot will glow. Larger parts of the frame on the back. So you can see these large areas here. These will be the sides of the shield. Okay. Alright, some more pure white armor parts. So you see these are probably for the arms. I'm guessing looking at the size. Parts of the elbows, joints around here, they cover up. Alright, now we're getting some more coloured parts. Red parts here. Okay, the accents for around the chest and such. Then on the back, this gives you a good idea. So earlier on we saw the chrome parts for the hands. So you see how these are added onto the outside, and these act like the gloves, I guess. And you see how there's small cutouts, you'll be able to see the finer chrome coming through. Really nice contrast will come through there. So just by that, you've got the feeling of actually clothing and building the suit. Okay, you've got some more iconic coloured parts. You've got the blue and the yellow. yellow highlights around the chest. Some more joints here. Lots of parts. Really nice. Alright, so we've got a whole lot of clear parts here. Clear parts being there so that you can have all the lighting shine through. So this is for the chest. These are the exhaust components. And then you've got some ball jointed parts here. Now that's intriguing because I'm not too sure how they're going to work. They must be as it's going through its motion, so it can guide light to a particular area. Then also the eyes are lit, and the verniers for the engines. Here there's more of that titanium type coloured truss that goes over the main frame, underneath the armour. You see how the complicated shapes here. These add so much to the overall effect. Okay, here we've got the main shield. So you saw earlier there was a frame on the inside, and then you've got the outlines in white. You've got more white of the armour. And then just inside there's some more black for the frame as well. They're quite chunky parts. Okay, and a final piece here. So this is more frame. This is quite complicated. This looks like parts of the leg. Spin around here, you might see all these finer details just around or within these joints. And hence why this particular commemorative 40th anniversary model is so great. They spent so much time in the engineering. And these parts are all ABS, so this is all load bearing as well. Okay, let's go and have a look at this manual. So, manual is mega thick. Okay, it's like a really heavy magazine type. And we'll just quickly go through it. Okay, so you've got a history of this particular model. So talking about the character and also the history of Gundam and the character. This is going through the stages of the building. So all the way from the start of the frame, secondary parts, all the way through to your final with all the panels open. So you can see all the panels, lots of panels open there. It's actually quite amazing. Okay, so we'll go through. You've got more detailed parts of what can happen. So you can see the different colors of the exhaust units. Just here, you get your beam saber. You got the core block, which is the part where the cockpit is. That's the escape module. You can see there. And then you got your weaponry here as well, the beam rifle. So that gives you an idea of all the different colored parts that go into it. And they're quite subtle, but you can see all the details. Okay, then you go into the standard, they show all the parts and what all the parts look like. So they're all coded so you know where to find the bits. As you can see, it continues on to here, a lot of parts. And then quickly showing you the different phases. And then you start the construction. Okay, so this is part of that multi-piece joint I showed you earlier. So you can see how it's in that sort of C shape. Once you cut it out, it unfolds. So that's amazing. Fully integrated joints. So 2 joints there. And then everything connects onto there. Okay, so that is the leg. Okay, so you add in all the bits and pieces as you're doing the frame. And here you can see the motions of flexibility. So you've got straight leg, angled ankle, and then fully bent knee. And you can see how everything all stretches out. It's very natural, it looks like muscle. Okay, then you do the other side. It's identical. Start adding in all the light, finer details. So this is the photo etch that's getting stuck on. And then we've got this quite complicated hip joint. So this is complicated simply because they want the hips to be very, very flexible. You see the legs going onto the hip joint here. And then moves on. and start making the torso. So you've got the torso, all the bits going on there, connected all the verniers. So I can see now these are clear parts here with the ball joint. So that's where the light is emanating through. So the light's actually going through the ball joint, through the vernier to give you your engine effect. There's the aluminium part on the end there. Okay, so this part we're going through the arms. So arms have got the similar type of molding that we showed earlier. So you just cut it out and it's fully flexible. And then you've got all the frame parts going on. Both sides, left and right of the arm, and then that's attached to the torso. You start working on the head. So you've got all the head components. You've got the clear parts there because there's going to be lighting that's going into the head as well for the eyes. And then the head's attached. And then you start doing all the secondary frame areas, which is the truss parts. These are all those open areas. So this is like the third stage, the medium stage, all the trusses going on. So you can see you've built the frame, then the trusses. So you've got the trusses going on the torso now. Then once all the trusses are on, you can see there, how it's all fitted out. Looks sort of empty because it has this real look of things that can hang off the truss. So that's where the armor is going to go on. And this is where you start doing the armor phase. So you're doing the leg armor. And then you get into the chest armor. Various parts all over. Get into the head. Okay, so that's like the head. You've got the construction of the helmet going together. Multiple pieces. Start making the weaponry. So there's a beam rifle. So you can get an idea of how many parts are just in the one beam rifle. It's not particularly big, but it's got a lot of multicolored parts. And then the shield, I showed the shield before, it's got so many bits too. And then we've got the core fighter, which is the cockpit. So that's the escape pod, turns into this sort of jet fighter there. And then you see how that's all folded up, and then it gets input into the chest. You've got all of this going together. So core fighter slid inside. Start working on the hands. So these are the gripping hands. So you've got the beam swords going into place. So that's if you want to light it up. You've got the beam section here. Fitment of the shield. So this is final assembly now. And this is everything all being clicked into place. Okay, and you get to this point here where everything's all constructed, and this is where to put all the metallic stickers. These are all the reflective ones. And then that's your finished model. So from here, this is explaining how all these components open up. These are all the gimmicks. So you can do so many different poses, different scenarios. Here you've got the framework with all the trusses on it. And then you've got multiple action poses. I mean, that's pretty classic here with the beam rifle facing upwards. And then this is the figures that are included. So a painting guide. So if you want to paint it up, there's a full list there. And then these are all the sticker instructions. So there's a lot of stickers go around. Very impressive indeed. And that's the end of the manual there. So really nice publication there. Definitely something that you put in your library. And then it's amazing the design and all the technical aspects of this particular kit. So if you're familiar with PG Bandai's, this is definitely the best one they've done so far in terms of technicality. And if you've never built one before, you could easily tackle this with a bit of help. So you take your time, but the whole idea is it's meant to go together very easily. Just follow the step-by-step instructions, and then you'll end up with a really nice kit at the end with all this detail without even needing any paint. But of course, if you want to paint it, you just take it up to the next level. Definitely a great kit, designed to be, I guess, like an action figure at the same time as a plastic model kit. So it's sort of merged those two types of product. So here we go. This is the Bandai PG Unleashed RX-78-2. It's a very classic character, and it's a very memorable kit. So they're very sought after at the moment. If you can get one, grab your hands on one and get building. It's very, very nice.